Alrighty, sorry that I had trouble getting on that page. Anyway, this is Joseph Jensen. I'm going to be talking about my writing progression. This is for my portfolio project. Man, I can't speak. For my English class, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. So I will be talking about my writing progression. This is a very interesting topic for me because I never really thought of like my progression in my head of how I write. And there's always a method of like whether we think it or not, we all do a method in our head um to write before we write. I mean, most of us don't just jump into it. I mean, yes, we jump into it, but there's always a progression. And so like my questions are is like where does it all start? Like how does it all begin? Like what do I initially do? And I've never really taken time to reflect on what I do. I mean, this is a very general process though I'm talking about like right here, and it fits me pretty good, but everybody else has their own preferences of how they write and what they do to write. I mean, everybody has their own and different progression, but this one is what I do. Um, Yes, I mean, I've done research before I wrote this presentation, so it may seem like I'm just copying somebody else, but this is a progression that I realized this is what I do. And so, yes, I'm, this is not original ideas I'm taking right here, like that are just brand new that I just thought of out of my head, but it's research I've done that made me realize this is what I do. And so, there are three steps on how I write. And it's called invention, composition, and revision. Invent, compose, revise. These three key words that I use to write. I mean, I don't think of it, but this is how I write. This is my progression. So the first one, invention. Um, but before I continue on this, I just want to say this is a progression that I've used since freshman year of high school. And that's what I'm saying. It's not something I just thought of. This is my style. This is something many people use, but this is one that fits me. And this is what I've been taught, and this is what I build on top of and improve my writing from. So, before I begin, um, my writing, um, I ask a few questions. I may not ask them in my head, but this is stuff I think about, and it's what's the purpose of the writing? Who's the audience? What's the genre, the style, the research? It's just an approach, or I'm thinking of approach of how I should write it. Like, I mean, for my purpose, like, why am I writing? Is this for English class? Is this for a research paper? Is this for a doctor's paper? Or it's just what's the purpose? And then my audience, who am I writing it for? Am I writing for my teacher? Am I writing for a presentation? Just, and then what style should I use? Should it be more like a storytelling like style, or um like what type of person like point of view should I be talking from, like my style writing, and then what kind of research should I do? And I mean, with this, I ask a lot of questions, I explore topics, and then I most of the time I free write and brainstorm. I record ideas without really brainstorming. So basically, I open up this is what I usually do. I open up a Google Docs, and then I just start writing for about 20 minutes, writing about ideas I should talk about. And then sometimes I just that's where I find most of my thesis statements and what I want to write about, because I just pour all my ideas out on paper. That's why I love this step right here. I mean, then there's the map and cluster. We invent and organize ideas visually to explore relationships process, and then keep a journal reflecting on my process and ideas and keeping record of what I do. Out of all these four, my bad, I usually do free writing and brainstorming, which is my favorite. And then the next step is composing. So you conduct, I conduct a research. I do my research, usually find some resources. I narrow down the topic that I want to talk about. Sometimes my topic tends to be very broad and I really need to narrow down. And but usually when I do my brainstorming and free writing. I usually do get my thesis out of there. But then I organize my ideas and I take a lot of my ideas out of my free writing and then I write a first draft. And this is a general outline that many people use. I use it sometimes just to look at it and say, well, that's usually how I set it up. But I never really just look and like mirror my writing from it. So I don't tend to look at I don't like setting up outlines. I love just brainstorming ideas and writing things down and kind of just going for it. That's my type of thing. And then revising. It's very basic. You review, you revise, you proofread. It's just basically looking over your paper, make sure it's good, editing grammar mistakes, make sure there's no run-on sentences, make sure you have the title put in there, you have the body, you didn't like just go off and talk about something else in your essay, you kept on topic. And that's revising. And then you usually write many drafts, right? And it's these three words: invent, compose, revise. It's just very, very, very simple because it's just like I create my I get my ideas, I compose it, and I revise it. And then if I have to go back again, I start over or I improve my rough drafts, or this is just my process. And I know it's a very short presentation, but I hope you enjoyed it. And this is how I write. Thank you.